and welcome to another episode of Movie Match Reviews on YouTube. Today's movie is arguably the first film in the Disney Walden Media Partnership. Holes. Now, for those who are not aware, Holes is actually a book by Louis Sachar about a camp who forces its inmates to dig holes under the pretense of building character. And since the book was a bestseller, I know because I have it, that it would make sense that a film adaptation would be in the cards. Well, after numerous adaptations, including one dystopian version, didn't go over too well with executives, Sachar himself was commissioned to adapt his own book. This actually results in one of the few adaptations that's almost completely faithful to the overall book. He even makes a cameo. So, what's the story? Well, a boy, Stanley Yonats the Fourth, is in a family dogged by bad luck because in their past they had a family member. He betrayed a friend of his, and she put a curse on him. By saying she wanted her to drink from the stream. So the curse is the equivalent of years bad luck. And one day a pair of shoes fall on top. It's like on his head as he's walking home from school under the overpass. Well, apparently the shoes were stolen, and it's one of those, it was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and the shoes belonged to a famous basketball player, which gives the crime an even harsher sentence. So he's arrested and put on trial. Well, he's given a choice. He could either do juvie, or he can go to Camp Green Lake. So he chooses Camp Green Lake. And so basically so he joins the job of digging holes, and basically the bulk of the film is set at the camp basically after those moments, and we don't really see bits and pieces of his home life, aside from maybe like a few flashbacks and cut forwards. And it's one of those where it's like he slowly and surely uncovers the true reason for why they're digging the holes, while everyone else is in dark basically. So again, like I said, due to the fact that the author who wrote the book also adapted it, it's actually a very faithful adaptation, because this came out during a time where, and it's like the first two Harry Potter films also, on the other hand, were also very faithful to the books. It wasn't until the previous director left that they started streamlining like a lot of books. And this is actually one of the few that doesn't really streamline anything. It follows the book almost beat for beat, but Sachar also adds a little plot twist where the camp is, and I don't think I'm giving anything away here, shady in some spots, because in the book the camp is legitimate, if not a little bit shady. Here, it's sort of a toss-up as to whether or not, because they strongly imply the camp was illegitimate. Because at the end of the film, after he cracks the case, the camp gets seized. So that kind of makes it a little bit tricky as to the legitimacy of the camp, because in the book, that's how it was. The camp was legitimate, if not shady. The kids that they got were great, but in retrospect, this was actually one of the films that began shoving in a Disney Channel star in the film. They would develop a film for them or create a role for them. But ironically, when Shia LaBeouf got Holes, even Stevens had already been off the air. I think they were canceled. So in this case, it could be a subversion to this, but in retrospect, it really did start that trend in the late 2000s. But not saying he's not bad. He does do a good job, and the rest of the kids that they had did a fairly good job in personifying the characters a little bit and all that. The people who did the villains were good, and the film was one of those that didn't really catch the world on fire, which was shocking because, like I said, the book was so well known, and in schools, as a matter of fact, that's how I heard about it. Teachers were using it as a class read time and all that. But the movie, ironically, actually didn't really catch the world on fire here. But like I said, Holes is a good family flick, and it does have a good mystery as to why they're digging the holes, and it's fun to watch the one character actually figure it out, because in the book he doesn't really get suspicious until after he visits the cabin, whereas the movie, on the other hand, he has him start to figure it out when he digs up the tube. That was actually pretty clever, and it adds to the fact, okay, well, why are they digging holes? And anyway, so to sum it up, book good and film good. Well, that was Holes. You can check the channel for my previous stuff. The next review will be Around the World in 80 Days. So that's me, Matt, signing off.